Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. This is the third installment of my albums that I've never owned series. And I didn't realize this series has kind of become a way of people just reaching out to me and asking, you know, asking me, why don't you have this album? Why don't you, you know, is this an album um, that you're, wanting to own? Why don't you want this album, etc. And somehow people have just been so generous and have filled in so many gaps to these albums. And um, I'd be remiss to not mention that I did a video not too long ago showing albums that Rich Strickler had got for me. Well, he had another album that came in the mail the other day. It was supposed to be with the original order that he sent me, but the package got split up. He sent me a copy of Rumors by Fleetwood Mac. So I just wanted to quickly mention Rich, and I appreciate it a lot, buddy. And I look forward to doing all those videos with you. Check out Rich's channel too. We're doing a ranking of the Beatles songs, album by album, and he just posted Help. Let's get up some of those views on that video. We had a lot of fun doing it, and we would like to see it go up a little bit in views. And next video from him that's coming out is our Rubber Soul ranking, so check that out. But here we go. Here are 10 more albums that I've never owned that maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. We'll see. No particular order. Album number 1 is Songs from the Big Chair by Tears for Fears. Now, Tears for Fears have an album coming out at the end of this month that I really want to get, called The Tipping Point. There's some great songs on it. It sounds really good. The boys, Roland and Kurt, have their voices are still intact like they were in the 80s, 40 years ago. The songs are really good. Of course, Songs in the Big Chair is their big album that was massive on the charts. And it's one that I'd like to have. Not one that I see really in terms of like on CD that much. And it's not one that I think about getting when I go anywhere, but it's all good stuff. I'd love to get into some other deeper cuts. So that's number 1. Next, Hunky Dory by David Bowie. I have one David Bowie album. I have Ziggy Stardust, but I hear a lot of people talk about Hunky Dory being his best. I know that my friend Tommy loves Hunky Dory. I know that Mike over at Hub Tunes loves Hunky Dory, and it's one I've never listened to, never bought it. I'd like to, nothing against it, and I want to try to get into Bowie, but Bowie's never been one that I've gravitated toward. So I think I need to just listen to it on Spotify or YouTube. I listen to YouTube really, and try to get my mind around it. Next, and Rich is gonna get mad at me about this one. Rich was kind. He sent me Born into the USA. Born to Run. But another Bruce Springsteen album that I don't have or have never owned is The River, which again is supposed to be one of Bruce's best. I know he recently went on tour, maybe in the last 7 or 8 years, where he did the River tour and sang the album in its entirety. I know Rich loves it. Oftentimes you see it behind him in his videos, so The River is another one. Next is Tug of War by Paul McCartney. Of course, he got songs like, Ebony and Ivory on here, but from what I understand, there's some nicer gems. I know the song Here Today is on there as well, which I like. But again, it's another one of the Paul McCartney albums that I need to fill into my collection. And speaking of Paul McCartney, Ringo. The only Ringo albums that I have are the last 2 EPs that he put out last year. I would love to get into Ringo. I've heard several of his albums. Obviously, I've heard the Ringo album. I've also listened to Buku of Blues. I've listened to Sentimental Journey. I've listened to a couple of his latter day ones. What's My Name? I know I've listened to. And I know that's a favorite of a lot of Ringo fans, considering it one of his latter day best. So I really need to fill out my Ringo collection. He's hard to find too in terms of new CDs or new albums. Next, here's a shock for people. The Last Waltz by the band. I've seen the movie probably close to 10 times. I know the music back and forth. Um, I'm just, I just would like to get, if I'm gonna get this album, I think I want to get it in full. Like there are different variations of this album, like the 2 disc and etc. But there's a large version I think that has like the full concert and then also the soundstage recordings that they did, like with Emmylou Harris or the Staples. Um, so that's kind of where I'm looking for that, and I'm not sure if it's still in print or not, but never owned the Last Waltz. I have Rock of Ages as a live album, and then one of the live albums that came, the live disc that came on the Cahoots reissue. I have that, but yeah. Next is Nevermind by Nirvana. I can't get into Nirvana. I've tried. I just, the grunge scene doesn't cut it for me. Nirvana, Soundgarden, Pearl Jam, even the Foo Fighters, really, I can't wrap my head around it. It's not for me. I don't really enjoy it. So Nevermind is it's probably not an album that I'll ever reach for at my local store. So next, the Monkees, the Birds, the Bees, and the Monkees. One of their bigger albums. It's got the song Daydream Believer on it. Got some great Nesmith tunes on it. Again, you can't find Monkey CDs in just stores, and I don't order it because, again, I get so many CDs that end up at my door cracked because they're packaged poorly through Amazon or whatever, whoever sends them along. So that's one that I like to have, the Birds, the Bees, and the Monkees. I don't have that in any format. Next, the first album by Pink Floyd, Piper at the Gates of Dawn. That's another one that I would love to have. I've heard a couple of songs on it, and it's probably going to be more my style versus some latter day Floyd. It's more in the 60s vein, psychedelic, and I probably enjoy it a little bit more than albums like Uma Guma or even like metal. But I'm lacking in my Pink Floyd collection, as I mentioned in another video. I have Dark Side of the Moon, The Wall, Animals, and Endless River. I got that, but I don't have really anything else by them. But Piper at the Gates of Dawn is probably where I start to boost my collection. And then finally, y'all know me as a big Van Morrison fan, as you can see. Well, one of the albums that I can never find by him is Vidon Fleece. And I know, again, back to my friend Tommy, he mentions this album a lot, talks about it being a great album. I've heard it, I've listened to it before, and I'd love to have it. I know Elvis Costello's favorite song is on there, and yeah, it's one of the few Van Morrison albums that I need to get to fill my Van Morrison collection. So Vidon Fleece, that's number 10 on this episode, number 3 of albums that I've never owned. Thank y'all for watching. I'm liking how these are getting a nice response from people. It seems to be good conversation in the comments. So let me know if I'm crazy for not having any of these. Should I give some of them a second listen? Just let me know in the comments. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll talk to y'all real soon. So take care.